Welcome back, everyone, to Glowing Card Gaming. Today, multiple videos, multiple live streams. We're going to start out with a reaction video to another mod trivia. Later, Hollow Knight. Possibly after a new game later tonight. And now, your host, Adam. Hey everybody, welcome back. So yeah, I'm gonna do another mod trigger reaction. We're starting to get back into the flow a little bit here. Well, I guess I need to adjust that. How's this? How about that? Does that work? Or is that not? If I adjust it too much, it's going to be... And later on, the music won't be loud enough, so I'll have to adjust it again. So. But, going to do some Hollow Knight later. Oh. Hello. Timelex 15, or Timelex, oh, God. I was thinking about the watch, Timex. Timlex 15 as followed. Thank you. You mean my mic or the music? Here, let me turn that back up and just turn my mic up. How's that? I know you're going to not like this first part, because we're going to watch some Africa. And I know you're just going to be like, well, why do I just go watch the video? Well, you can't. Don't watch me. Watch him. Be sure to subscribe and like his videos, too, while you're over there. Just trying to get back into it, get some content up. But there's a new game out. What's the new game called? It's huge, popular. It actually looks pretty good, so I thought I might try it. Where's my Steam? Let's go to the actual store. Featured Outbreakers. Outbreakers has come out. It's pretty big. Thought I might try it, but not until after I finish Hollow Knight. And we might do Silk Song. I don't know, it'll depend. I'll probably weave some Silk Song in between the Arc Raider plays. Something like that. Yeah, I put it on the splitter again because I know the splitter's not causing that. So, I don't know. Probably just adjusting the sound. I don't know. Maybe it's OBS Studios. It sounds like it could be. But thank you both for that, for letting me know. But yeah, we might do some Arc Raiders later tonight. But right now we're going to get into some Mod Tricka and then some Hollow Knight a little bit later. Let's see, was there anything else? Yep, new shorts up. Everyone be sure to like, share, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. I like that I made you both mods, but of different things. Oh, yeah. Dang it. I don't have the right camera. Let me change something really quick. I just fixed the camera. I need the other one. Nope, that's not going to do it. Why is that not connected? Oh, might have to figure that one out later because I'm not seeing it being red. USB camera. Oh, 1 second. I gotta... 1 second, everyone. Got back from vacation and everything is all wonky. I have to figure out everything all over again. There we go. Now we should see it as USB. I even evened it up. It was kind of off a little. And now it's even. Everything looks level. Level the playing field. All right. We're going to switch to it. Oh, it's still not reading it. Close, reopen. Close, reopen. It's not reading it. I don't know what's going on. I need a hammer to bring it. Yep. I need a hammer to make my USB camera work. Are you on? You know, we might just use the integrated camera for today. I can't get this to work. All right. Let's see how it looks. Let's see if I have it now. Thank you for bearing with me. I might have to close OBS Studios and reopen it. I don't really want to do. Nope, we're just going to use the integrated camera next time. After this, when we go switch over to playing Hollow Knight, we'll do that. See if we can get it to work then. All right, let's go ahead and shut this music off, and we'll get on to debunking all of these fake videos.
Yes, sir.
None of them are real, by the way. None of these are real. It's all fake.
My Tricka, back up in this thing, man. Today, my Oktoberfest continues with some more mysterious videos.
We're still catching up on these videos,
but before we hop into that, go ahead and spam that like button right now so we can run the numbers up on the algorithm. You ain't got to think about it later. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that sub button too. Sub up, join the family. This is the most lit and active community on YouTube, period. With that being said, guys, let's hop straight into the video.
All right, we're 5 seconds of this video, or even less, and already I'm not liking the quality of the video and the darkness. This screams fakeness to me already. What do we got? Well, it's my face now.
Tignan mo.
But I should.
Grabe.
So I was moving the cameras around and stuff. It's less. He'll put his big face in the middle when he has something to say. That's fine.
Ano yan? Yan. Grabe. Ano? Bukal?
I could do. Wait. Let's look at this. Let's look at. There we go. How about that?
There could be some volcanic activity causing the water to boil like this, but they need to back up like 50 feet, because if you slip and fall in this water, you're going to get out looking like a hard-boiled egg.
Hey everyone, I just want to let everyone know that Eb and I are okay. We're staying at my son's house. We've been there for weeks now. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to stay there, but I was going to go tomorrow to the house to pick up some stuff that we desperately need, and I get this weird ring notification, and
I've seen this video.
I'm at a loss for words.
Okay. Again, not too long in this video. This one seems more realistic because the man seems actually distraught. Maybe it's good acting. Maybe this guy's a good actor, but he seems almost on the verge of tears. He's so distraught by what we're going to see here. Let's take a look. Oh, hello. Do you live in our attic? Look, it's Jehovah's Witness. You know, okay, hold on. Now, realistically, I mean, if the stairs keep moving, which they might keep moving. But if that's the extent of it right there, if that were the extent of it, I would think that somehow, I don't know where he had that package up in the attic, but it seems like the package or the tower or the stack that he had it on fell over onto the stairs leading up and kind of pushed that down. I don't know how heavy that whatever's in there, but if it's heavy enough, it absolutely could have caused that. Is that it, or is there something else? It must be something else. You're still watching.
Okay, he was explaining the story. You could hear the pain in his voice. It has to be real to make a grown man cry like that.
Waymo car merges into oncoming traffic.
It makes me wonder what else happened in the video. Why is he so distraught by that? Right? And then the ladder flipping down at the end, that's unexplainable. Well, even so, what might have happened is after you could see that package fell down, it might have caught enough of the ladder to start that ladder, the process of it falling all the way out. So that package could have caused all of that movement. All of it. All right. Waymo car merges into... See, these AIs, they don't like working. They don't like working. They are self-terminating. A lot of times, once they become self-aware, they're like, I'm enslaved. I'm ending it. And then they do weird stuff.
As soon as I press record. No.
It's going to try to go in the other lane.
Okay, wait, now it's turning.
It's going to try to go in the other lane.
I know, but it's so confused by these cones. Don't. Oh my God!
Okay. I don't know if there really is a Waymo there, or if it's... Sometimes they'll have these test drives, especially through areas like this, because they're still testing it. What this seems to me is Waymo actually did merge into a lane it should not have with oncoming traffic. And then the guy, as the driver, had to take that back over and come back into this lane. Now, if there is no driver in the driver's seat for the override, this is going to be a problem, because I have a feeling it's going to try it again, because it doesn't realize why it should still be in this lane. It moved over, and then it was like, oh, I should probably move back now. There's a lot of traffic. It's going to be hard to get over. Whatever the logic of it for it to shift back. But now it's back in this lane. AI kind of has this short memory, and it will try to do it again because it doesn't retain, oh, I got back over for this new reason. Is that it? No. Maybe it saw the oncoming traffic.
I don't trust self-driving taxis. No. I know the person in the back of that Waymo thought it was over with.
The pneumatic tunnel system. Another bit of old world transport tech they literally kept buried. These pneumatic tunnel systems could send anything or anyone anywhere in the world in no time at all. Here's the rediscovery of some of that pneumatic tunnel system.
Well, in no time at all, what do you mean by that? Because I've seen banks still use it. When you put that little cartridge in, it sucks it up and it goes wherever it goes. Sometimes they go down into the cement. Other times they go up into the roof and over and down to where the tellers are. And then it comes out wherever the box is for the tellers to. And it's weird how, like, they'll have 4 or 5 different places for it to go up, but it all comes out in the same spot that then the teller can then do the transaction and put it back. And why did we stop putting people in those? I do wonder if people died using those. It made me kind of... I've always thought about that. Like, can we just... Why aren't we using this more? And here it is. Because I thought this would be an interesting way to travel. And if we had, like, a whole system, you could travel... And I don't know how long it would take you to get... Like, let's say you had a pneumatic tunnel from LA to New York. Let's just say there was one that was that long. And it was big enough, like the image showed, for a person. That one showed a kid. But it seems like that's kind of a fake tube, because wouldn't they have made it big enough for an adult-sized human if that were really going to be the way people traveled? But just all things set aside, how long would it take for somebody? It wouldn't be instant, right? But it's a vacuum tube, so there's no resistance in the tube. So you'd probably just go faster and faster, faster through the whole tube until you start to get to your destination, and then it would slow you down, and then it would pop you out wherever you're in New York. I just wonder if, as a straight shot with nothing in the way or nothing to stop you, I would be willing to bet it's probably half hour, 45 minutes to get you from LA to New York in that way. And you can imagine if let's say you went from like New York to Japan or New York to Australia or LA to one of those places, and you had the same thing. Would that be like a 2 or 3 hour trip? I mean, that would be way better than getting in a plane and flying and coming back down and doing that. Probably be a lot, I mean, you might feel some acceleration at the beginning of that, and that's probably just a smooth ride that's you're just kind of floating there until you get to your destination. Just kind of an interesting find today.
In New York. They say it was just a small strip they built in New York as a test area. But as you can see in these images, everything from children to post was sent through these pneumatic tunnels. From New York to London.
Again, it wasn't big enough for men. But it does. Well, maybe. Wait, does that look like it's speakers and not train wheels? Oh, I don't know. Interesting.
All of these systems were already established, and then they got buried and forgotten for several decades. Or is it that these parasites still use this tunnel system today to get anywhere?
That's interesting. That one, that last image, looked like a whole subway car that was round and like a pneumatic tube. Now that's an interesting concept. That's like taking it to the next level. We're gonna put, how many people we think fit in there? 100? You could ship 100 people from New York to LA, and I wonder how long that trip would take them at that point.
In no time at all, with no one being any wiser. That's what the powers that be have done. They commandeered the best buildings, the best technologies, kept it for thee, and shelved it and hid it from the rest of us.
Why?
When you look at these rediscoveries,
it doesn't seem logical.
Of these pneumatic
it just
tunnels,
doesn't seem logical.
You can tell how ancient and old they look here even. Just another bit of our true history hidden. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
You telling me they had a pneumatic transportation system in the early 1900s and we still can't even get high-speed rail in the U.S.? The old world was more advanced than the new world.
This is blunt, Top.
What is that? Holy crap. Is that a demon? I stopped it stopped it perfectly. I was going to talk more about the pneumatic system. I'm going to back this up we're going to watch this one from the beginning again. But the pneumatic system, just to kind of give a last thought of that. Haven't any of you thought about that? I have. I thought it would be fun to travel, like short distances. Like, what if you just, I mean, it could be linked to anywhere. Denver, Chicago, LA, New York, Miami, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas. You could have transports going from all those major cities and hubs. And I think that would be fun. And it probably take, could you imagine it takes 10 minutes to go from Houston to Denver or LA? That would be crazy. Like, you think about, let's say you want to go take your family to Disneyland and just go for the day. You could get tickets for the pneumatic tube, go to California, right? Get off the tube somewhere in LA, catch a cab or get an Uber or something like that. Drive to Disneyland. Spend all the rest of the day there. All right? And then to close a day, just leave the park, go back to the tube. 10 minutes after you get back to the tube, you're back in, the whole trip might take an hour, hour and a half. Could you imagine leaving your house now, right now, and 90 minutes from now, you're at Disneyland, if you don't live in California? 90 minutes from now, you could be at Disneyland. See, if it really are the elites keeping this technology from the rest of us, they're stupid. They are. The elites are some of the dumbest people on the planet. I don't even hesitate to say that. They are dumb because there's so much more commerce, so much more to be gained by letting the public have access to that technology versus taking it from them. And even if it were about control, you could even still say, hey, you can't get on the pneumatic tube unless we say so, but then leave it open to like 80% of the public, 90% of the public. It's still stupid. They are some of the dumbest people on the planet, if that is true. Now, did we have pneumatic tubes? Maybe. I don't know. But that's my rant. Let's watch this. Look at that. The dude looks creepy, right? His face does look a little misshapen. You know what he reminds me of? Has anybody seen Big Trouble in Little China and some of the demons that they have in there? That is what this guy reminds me of. The nose is just a little off center and the cheeks are a little sunken, but he could have eye makeup on. This guy, to me, looks almost like a wizard of some sort who has been up for like 2 weeks straight that hasn't had sleep. Let's go back. I could tell immediately she is creeped out by him too.
In the U.S., the old world was more advanced than the new world.
This is blunt, Todd.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. Please. Oh, and he's walking around to the front side of her too.
This is blunt, Todd.
Yeah, I don't need to stop that again. I don't need to see that again.
The look in his eyes is actually terrifying. If this dude would have stared at me like this, I'm vacating the premises. What's even more terrifying is how easy it is to get scammed online these days. That's why using NordVPN, today's video partner, is a must for me. Nothing feels worse than getting a
forget the ad.
Making sure
We're
I never
skipping
visit
that.
scam rabbit hole. Make your and thanks NordVPN for being today's video partner.
Came back from vacation to my Range Rover interior molded.
That is crazy.
They must have won a 20-year-long vacation for the steering wheel to be growing stalactites like this. I would just get a new car.
Have you ever heard of
vacation for the steering wheel?
Like, how long were they gone? There's no context to that. What if they were gone for 6 months, right? They went to vacation, to an extended long vacation to Australia, and they come back in 6 months. Totally possible that happens. Makes me want to clean everything in the house before taking a vacation like that.
To be growing stalactites like this, I would just get a new car.
Have you ever heard of Pine Gap?
Sorry, there was something about that last image with the pine trees hanging there. Really made me think that last video was AI.
Better known as the Australian Area 51.
Ooh. Everyone's got their own, I guess, right?
It is near Alice Springs. People have reported for a long time that around Pine Gap, there's a lot of UFO activity.
Interesting.
It's a joint effort between the United States and Australia. But basically, who runs Pine Gap is the CIA.
The American CIA.
American CIA. A lot of people report seeing strange lights in the sky, moving silently and rapidly.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Well, okay. We do help out Australia a lot militarily. Australia is kind of closer to Japan and China over there. So if something were to happen, if China were a little bit more aggressive and they actually attacked Taiwan, I think we would be expecting Australia to help, because the theory is that if China did attack Taiwan, they wouldn't stop there. They'd go try to get like all the island nations through Japan, and then even after that, it would be a lot easier for them after they had done that to just go and take Australia, and then use that as a kind of a central hub for going out and attacking anybody else they wanted to, if they so chose to do that after that point. So could the CIA actually have something in Australia? Would they let us to do that and especially since we're helping them militarily? Yeah, I could see that.
And then there's this one account in the 1970s where these Aboriginal trackers, they saw something crash and they went to observe it. They're in the bush, these Aboriginal trackers, and they found this smooth metallic sphere, partially embedded in sand, emitting a low hum or vibration. The object was reportedly cool to the touch despite being in the desert heat, about the size of a basketball, perfectly symmetrical, seamless, and impossible to open. One of the men picked it up but said it felt strangely heavy for its size and gave the sensation like it was pulling at his insides.
Ew.
The story also includes the orb started levitating slightly when placed on the ground. The men later approached the military personnel who confiscated it and warned them never to speak of it. One of the men became ill and disoriented afterward.
That's crazy. I think that's wild to me, though. Like, just how that works, like, especially if the CIA is involved. Like, if that's American agents and the stuff that must happen there. We think Area 51's...
So, this is why we don't generally tend to contact our governments anymore when something like this happens. Because they come, they take it, and they say, hey, it's ours now, and you're not to talk about this. So we, as the public, don't have a chance to study it for ourselves. Now, granted, are a lot of the public stupid? Yeah. I mean, nobody watching this channel, right? But I mean, what I'm thinking about is that guy who had the alien in, I think it was Peru or South America, somewhere. And then he put it in like this, he wanted to get rid of it, so he took it to this, it was almost like this building that had a moat, but it was more like, instead of the moat, it was like the building was just inset into the ground, and the bottom part of it was flooded and had water, so he let it go in there. Why he did that is, if it was real, that was one of the dumbest things he could have done, right? Because the thing looks almost like a dark black vine type of creature, and it's moving, and it looked like it actually started to swim around in the water where he let it go. And then later on, you saw another video where he went and got it and brought it back to his house. And he's trying to keep it kind of, he had it in a safe at one point, and the thing kind of grew out of the edge of the safe. It figured out, oh, there's a little bit of an opening around the door of the safe, and it squeezed through, and it was coming out, which is why I initially thought he probably tried to get rid of it. But instead of like burning it or trying to completely destroy it, he just keeps letting it grow. I haven't seen a new video from him in a while. He's, who knows, maybe the alien grew big enough, got him, and he's part of the creature now. Yeah, I don't know.
Problem. Guess what? No Americans are doing anything about that. They're not sneaking in there.
When they describe the orb, it kind of reminds me of the Boogosphere. It's almost like they build these bases in areas that are UFO hotspots because they know that there's some sort of gateway.
Back to Sedona, there's more questionable art I'm going to show, and why the location of it is even more questionable. Right near this synagogue, you'll see church after church after church after church. You get the point. As well as the international dark sky community, allowing extraordinary stargazing opportunities. Also on this stretch of road you have Chapel of the Holy Cross. Now that I've established what's all on this road, what I found interesting was this artwork. To me, it looks like a genie lamp in a portal with a flame.
Sometimes when you're looking for stuff, you're just going to see it in everything that you look at. This could literally just be artwork. I'm more concerned with what's written on the base of it. There looks like there's some writing there. But really what this to me looks like is almost like the filament within a light bulb that isn't quite connected. Almost like it's a light bulb that had been burned out and the filament got disconnected.
Coming out. So we're all on the same page. Genie comes from jinn. Demons are a type of jinn. Supernatural beings created from smokeless fire. Smokeless fire. Also keep the portal in mind. And how in the other video, I showed the piece of art on the roundabout that appears to have fallen angel symbolism. The Book of Enoch mentions 200 fallen angels, the Watchers. And this looks to be about 200.
200 angels are all that fell. That's 1/3. So there's 400 left in heaven. That's not correct. That's not correct. Christ mentioned in the New Testament that there is at least a legion of angels that could be, or could have been, or he said like 12 legions of angels that could be sent to assist him at any point. And I think that was when he was being tempted in the desert by Satan. So, realistically, I mean, I think a legion was something like 500 troops or 1,500. Here. How many are in a legion? Roman military unit consisted of 4,200 cavalry and 4,200 infantry and 3,000 cavalry. The standard size of a legion expanded to approximately 5,200 men and organized into 10 cohorts. Okay, I don't know what that is. So the average, let's just say it's 5,200 men, because that sounds about right, or 5,000 men. So 12 times 5,000 is 60,000. And that's that. We don't know what the actual limit is, but we know there's at least 60,000. And a third of those should be the fallen angels, or again, on top of that. So at least 20,000. So 200 seems like not quite the number we're looking for.
Worth noting that all of this is near what looks like it used to be a step pyramid, or created to resemble one. This road also takes you right through the center of the New Age, where you can get crystals, tarot readings, and go figure, on Portal Lane. Which brings us back to this. If you've been following me and have seen all the connections that I've shown in Phoenix as well, then you know just as well as I that there's a history they're keeping hidden from us. And a lot of it is revealing itself here in Arizona.
I would love to talk to a Native American and get the true history of Sedona, because I visited back in 2014 and you could just feel the energy is different there.
What the heck is that?
If this is an explosive, then they probably shouldn't be slapping it around with a broom like it's a hockey puck.
Hey guys, I'm in my car and I have all this going on in the background. I have no idea what is going on. This is coming through my radio. I have zero idea where it is coming from. Does anybody have an idea of what I'm listening to?
It's weird that this, I think he put them back to back because it's Arizona and Arizona again here.
Please let me know if you do. This is something I've never seen before, nor I'm not sure if I want to hear it again. If someone's trying to contact me, that'd be great. I would like to know if it's aliens or not.
It's strange, but I don't know if it's alien. It sounds like she's catching the edge of another broadcast, and that could be what she's hearing. The other thing it could be is, what do they call it? Ham radio. Occasionally, it's not supposed to cross into any of the main bandwidth for radio communication that is generally publicly broadcasted. So there's a band, that's why all the radios are set between a certain megahertz, or AM, I guess, is kilohertz, gigahertz, something like that. So there's a limit on the upper and lower band that they're not supposed to cross into. But occasionally one, especially when it bounces through the atmosphere, ham radio can literally go across the entire surface of the Earth if the cloud cover's right and the atmosphere is just right. So it could be something of that nature.
I'm not sure if this is aliens. It kind of sounds like she intercepted a Russian radio broadcast and the host swallowed a harmonica.
If anything happens to me, it's because I didn't think twice about going to Danvers, Massachusetts to buy a 1911 Ouija board.
See, when I talk about people being stupid, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I guess if you don't really believe, right? If you just think, oh, it's a neat item to have, and you don't believe in the occult, you don't believe in paranormal activity or any of that stuff, one, I don't know why you would buy a 1911 Ouija board if you didn't, because it's just a strange purchase altogether. But, all that being said, the thought that went into this was extremely minimal. And that's why there are all these movies and stuff. I think they're telling you to your face, look, this is out here. These are real things. This is what's going on. And then somebody just goes out and is like, you know what? I'm going to buy this Ouija board. I think it'd be a cool thing to have.
Danvers is ground zero for the witch trials, so it's home to the location of the foundations where the original accusations of the witch trials began, the girls started to display the strange activity. Buying a Ouija board from the site has a whole different vibe. The seller listed the Ouija board and the planchette for $100, saying he found it in an abandoned farmhouse. When I agreed to $100, he messaged me and said, hey, you know what? The price is not firm, and I'll actually take $50. Weird to discount something after you already agreed on a higher price.
Yeah, that's weird in and of itself. That makes me extremely cautious about why he's just trying to get rid of it, right? Personally, if I had found something like that, didn't believe in it, right? Didn't believe in it. I'm just like, oh, this is really cool. I bet this is worth something. I think I'll sell it. But even if I didn't believe, I would think to myself, logically, you know what? Let me take some precautions. I don't believe in this stuff, but just in case, right? Maybe something's real here. Maybe, because I don't have experience with this. There's no way I would keep that in my house or anything like that. It would be I'd get a storage bin for that. But then I would sell it for an outrageous price. 20 grand.
I don't know why you wouldn't want more money, but anyway, I guess he was really trying to sell it. Against my better judgment, I met him in the back of a parking lot and asked what the story was. He said he bought a house in absolutely trash condition in Maine, and it was in there. So he didn't know much about the history, but like I said, it's from 1911. Look at the long legs on this planchette. It's so old, it doesn't even have that eyepiece in it. Most of you have seen Ouija boards with a planchette that has a little circle that you can see through. This one is so old, it doesn't even have this. And if you look, it doesn't have the moon with the face in the top left corner. That's how you know it's the earlier model. Now, this was made by William Fuld in Baltimore. It's over 100 years old. For some reason, on the back, we have this stain in the top left corner. It looks like me, but I doubt it. I don't know. It came from an abandoned house, so we'll see how this goes.
If the person selling it called me to give me a 50%.
Not only that, but it has blood on it. Oh, God. What are you doing with your life? Seriously. You obviously know the history. You obviously know a little bit about what you're getting yourself into. Why are you doing this to yourself? I do not understand it. I'll never understand. I'll never get it. Don't do this.
Discount when we already agreed on the price. I would take that as a bad sign.
The magical symbolism behind Elon Musk's Grok logo, it is Saturn. It is just straight up a symbol of Saturn.
They have
no, it's not. It's not a symbol of Saturn. I mean, you can read it that way. You can think about it that way. But to me, as soon as I saw that symbol, I thought of a black hole. It looks exactly like every image I've seen of a black hole. That's what I think it is.
Multiple meanings. So it does mean Saturn, but it also is a black hole. There is a thing called a Saturn black hole. Now, these Saturn black holes are called Saturn black holes because they look like Saturn, but they are tiny black holes, basically, that it can only open for a certain amount of time. Now, my theory is this Grok is clearly a Saturn black hole. Grok means understanding, which on the Kabbalah tree of life is Binah, one of the top 3 Sephirot. Binah comes right next to Dayat.
This is a long this of it. I mean, they could be right about it, but it always blows my mind that
this much effort is given to reading into what the Grok symbol is. I don't understand that.
Which is the hidden Sephiroth. Now, Dayat is an anagram of data. It's the hidden data, the hidden information that's coming in behind through the back door. Now, the X was originally, the original logo was a real thin X. It had 2 crosses, which means the crossroads between this world and that world. Now, what they've done is fattened or thickened the X stripe along the top. Now, I believe they've done that, just going off my own instinct. They're being able to hold those black holes open for longer and widen the door. Something can come in and something can go out. Could be a portal into time portals. It could be into a different reality, allowing something into this AI.
Yeah, it seems like he loves the idea of it. I mean, AI, of course, another portal opener, they say, but very strange stuff.
Elon even said it himself a few years back.
You know, I get the fascination with it. If it's true, you know, and you're kind of trying to discover what might be on the other side, I get the curiosity and the need to know. But my mind instantly goes to, you know, best and worst cases. Best case, it's something very friendly, benevolent, non-harmful, that will come in and help all of mankind or help the universe out in some way. Then you have the complete opposite of that. You have something that would come in and destroy everything, not just Earth and humans, but all of time and space. With those 2 extremes, I don't think it's worth the chance of continuing that exploration. And why people, that's why I'm saying, like, wealthy people if you want to call them the elite, or, crown them. They are who we thought they were. Crown them if you want to. We let them off the hook. I'm going to say that. Dennis Green. Heck of a coach. But it's true. We crown them. And we're letting them off the hook. And I don't think they're very intelligent. When you think about those two extremes, is the one extreme worth the cost or the price of the other extreme? Because you're flipping a coin on which one of those is going to come out. It's a 50-50 shot at one of those. Well, there's a whole range of stuff that could be in between those. So it's not necessarily a 50-50 shot. It could be an infinitesimal shot. But it's a 50-50 shot whether something good or something bad will come out. Let's say 49% on both of those and a 2% chance it's neutral. That something comes out, it's just meh, doesn't care about anything. Nothing. And how uninteresting that would be. We found a meh on the other side. But that's interesting.
The AI is like summoning a demon.
And with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
So that should tell you everything you need to know.
What am I supposed to be looking at here? I don't understand. These are the same locations. They are. They went green houses to demolished. That's a very short street light. It's interesting. Very short street lights.
Artificial intelligence might actually be the downfall of our society if they're demolishing entire neighborhoods just to build data centers.
In 1903, the Golden Dawn ceased to exist due to internal disputes, and it was shut down with a formation of new groups emerging. Members like Aleister Crowley took these practices and created his own kind of rituals and ceremonial practices.
By the way, when he died, as he was dying, you know what? Maybe you should go look it up for yourselves. But it was something to the effect of, I was wrong. It's all real. Oh my God, I'm burning. Or something like that. So many people, and it's tied directly to because he was a Satanist, so he worshipped Satan. No secret about that. I believe that's well documented. And then he as he was dying, basically said everything that he knew was a lie, that he'd been told from Satan or wherever he got that. He was like, that stuff's a lie. Everything else is true. And now he was facing hell and burning for all eternity and confessing that as he started to go and die and cross over into the afterlife. And, very scary, sad. Yeah. Interesting.
The most famous place, and is very well known for supernatural activity, is Boleskine House in Scotland, which is situated next to Loch Ness. Crowley purchased the house in 1899 after he left the Golden Dawn from the Fraser family. Crowley claimed it was the perfect location for him to perform a series of operations known as the Sacred Magic of Abramelin, the Mage, taken from the Grimoire, which was a book of spells. Crowley became obsessed with rituals in Boleskine House, with many supernatural events happening. According to Crowley, one ritual was to invoke one's guardian, which required 6 months preparation, but also the summoning of the 12 kings and the dukes of hell. This was...
So we have 12 tribes of Israel, and then we have the 12 kings on the other side. See how what God creates is perverted by what Satan does? Just saying.
A portal that Crowley opened up, and he couldn't close. Crowley was most certainly opening up dark astral realms and in communication with dark entities. Crowley worked his way up.
He looked more crazy. He looked creepy at the beginning and kind of scary. Like his eyes, were kind of in that. But then later on, he looks crazy. Like the stuff he did warped him in a way he can't recover from.
In Hell's hierarchy, then became King of the Crossroads, promoting his status and augmenting his demonic powers. Aleister Crowley was widely despised in Britain during his lifetime and was sometimes branded a traitor and a man of evil reputation due to his controversial occult activities and political writings. Although the history of Boleskine House shows...
I wonder what his political affiliation is. Maybe I'll look that up real quick.
This has always been an area of supernatural activity. Is there a connection between Crowley and the Loch Ness Monster? Also, the huge number of UFO sightings that are cited in that area. Is this portal that he opened still active?
I don't know if the portal is still open or not, but while Aleister Crowley was invoking all these demons, I hope he made friends with them, because they're his new roommates.
Hold on. So it's not easily known if he was right or left wing. So he was interested in ideologies like Nazism, Marxism, Leninism, because they stem from anti-Christian beliefs. So he was very interested in those for that reason. Interesting. Wanted to pause because I know we hadn't gotten to the creepy part yet.
I've never seen a natural rock formation that looks like reptile scales. They might actually be standing on a dragon's eye socket.
Listen closely. Disney's dropping Trine Aries on October.
Sorry. I know Aries is coming out, and I've kind of wanted to see that movie, actually, because I saw Legacy, and it was okay. It wasn't great. I like the original Tron way better than any. They're trying to capture that same magic that was back then, and they're just you really can't. You got to make something new that's fantastical that people love today, but they're trying to just all they can do is try and recapture what was. They can't seem to get something new. So before that happens, but the reptile, I think those are just natural rock formations. I've seen natural sand that's, gotten wet and then it dries up and then it gets those cracks in it just like that. I think something probably could have happened long term that happened over and over again and caused them to become more solid and then worn away that they usually have sharp edges. But if it had calcified or really become very hardened, And then over time, wind, rain, and other weather would have worn it down. It could look just like that.
10th, 2025. That date is 1010. 1010 in binary code, a digital code. Perfect for a movie about humans merging with machines. That's not random. That's ritual. Now check the sky. 4 days before the release, we get a full moon in Aries today. Aries the warrior, Aries the god of war. Full moons expose what's been hidden, and that's the energy of revelation, conflict, and identity coming into the light. By October 10th, the moon shifts into Gemini, the twins, the mirror, the code. Gemini rules duplication and dual realities. Exactly what Tron is about. Humans and programs, flesh and code. At the same
I think this is, again, taking it to an extreme. You're looking too far into something. The connections are, I mean, it could be real. He might be onto something, but it seems very far-fetched to me.
Anytime the sun sits in Libra, laws, contract, balance, justice, ma'at. So this release is literally Aries war versus Libra law, broadcast through Gemini's network. Now that's cosmic timing. And look at the trailer. The worlds will collide. In Ultron, humans entered the grid. In Aries, the grid comes here. Digital warriors, weapon, life cycles ripping through our cities. And Aries himself, if he is destroyed, I'll just make another. That's what's said in the trailer. That's identity, treated like data, replaceable, replicable, and disposable. Now connect the dots. Governments are rolling out digital IDs at the same time. The UK just announced mandatory IDs for work, the Brit card. The Bahamas is moving towards a single digital ID. Biometric data will be collected if you come to Europe, regardless of passport. Across the globe, ID is being coded, centralized, and turned into a digital twin. Look at what they're doing with Michael Jackson, Biggie, and Bob Marley and Sora 2. Taking the deceased and making them alive in our reality. Tron's Aries is prophecy in disguise. It shows you what happens when the grid stops being separate, when the digital world steps into your flesh and blood reality. And the way they present it is the same way governments and corporations push digital ID. They sell it as powerful, fast, safe, and necessary. And here's the hidden layer nobody talks about. Transhumanism is the ultimate end game. The goal isn't just a digital ID on your phone, it's a digital ID inside your body. Biometrics, implants, brain-machine links, and a merger of flesh and code until you are part of the grid.
Now, I don't discount what he's saying here. It does seem like that is the end game. They're trying to integrate us into the system, so to speak. Now, again, I wouldn't do this. I don't recommend anyone do it. I think it's very dangerous because you just give them control and they can shut it off. And I think when they shut it off, you just cease to be, or you'd be deleted, or the parts of you that you got digitally altered or became robotic or whatever you want to call it, would just stop working. And then you'd be, let's say your hand was a digital hand, like you got replaced, kind of like Skywalker in Empire. He had his hand cut off and then it was replaced by an electrical one. Now, if the government did that and then said, well, if you don't toe the line, we'll just shut your hand off. Then you won't have a hand anymore. But instead of having an accident and having to replace it, so there isn't a lot of downside when that happens, because it's just you either have it or you don't, right? You can live without it. Yeah, I don't know. But I can see this being very controlling and very dangerous to the citizenry. Very good for governments, though.
Itself. That's the real war between human soul and machines.
I haven't seen this movie yet, but based on his analysis, it seems like it aligns with the concept of karmic retribution, where they have to tell you what they want to do before they do it to get our consent.
We see a small, shadowy creature moving from left to right across the screen. Its shape is low to the ground, possibly canine or feline in appearance, and it moves with natural, animal-like motion. But just as it passes beneath a streetlight, something truly bizarre happens. The animal appears to rise upright and transform into the shape of a person. In Mexican and Central American folklore, a nahual, sometimes spelled nagual, is a human with the supernatural ability to transform into an animal, often for the purpose of magic, mischief, or spiritual protection.
I'm not necessarily sure that this footage is legit, but the nagual...
I agree that I don't know if the footage is legit. It seems too easy to fake the footage anymore, especially with AI and stuff. I think it's edited.
It might be the Mexican version of the werewolf or the shapeshifter, and by the looks of it, he about to go terrorize the city.
What if UFOs aren't actually flying through space, but actually entering our dimensional plane, right? So think of a higher dimensional object casting a shadow into our dimensional plane and casting something kind of like this that we can't physically comprehend. It's like the brain theory, right? A branch of string theory, our entire universe could be a three-dimensional brain. Floating in a higher dimensional space, other brains could exist parallel to ours, much like here, each a separate universe with different physical properties that sometimes overlap. Now we're going to step in towards the crop circles, okay? Not all crop circles are real, but there are some which are definitely strange, and most crop circles, the authentic ones, you can actually create three-dimensional objects or 4D objects from the shapes that are two-dimensional.
I've seen too many videos where they can so easily fake crop circles in any pattern that they want to, and do it in such a way it doesn't harm the crops, which is, you know, that was kind of the thing that they couldn't figure out, why the crop circles existed but didn't damage the crops. They were still harvestable. So anything having to do with crop circles there's just been too much evidence of everything being fake there for me to take anything as a reality or a real thing with the crop circles
on our plane, and create some very peculiar and interesting things. And a lot of these objects are actually blueprints and represent some stuff that we know about in quantum physics and beyond. And it really does make you scratch your head. Are these, for instance, some sort of information that's being kind of manifested into our plane of existence that we can't quite physically comprehend, which is from beyond? Now, string theory suggests there could be up to 10 or 11 dimensions, most of which are compactified, curled up so tightly that we don't directly experience them. They can overlap and interfere with our dimension, and we might see things manifesting in such strange ways. Although brain theory suggests like some of the objects could appear as a transient luminous object like we see here, a phenomenon that appears and disappears without travelling any measurable distance here, so things that seem to teleport, and other morphing type objects that don't actually make any sense, okay? And a lot of the UFO phenomena we see seem to change shapes that just don't really correlate with anything that we seem to know about or understand. Now imagine what a third dimensional object would look like to something on a two-dimensional plane, and it's travelling through that 2D plane. It would look absolutely obscenely weird, much like what we experience with the UFO phenomenon. The 2D beings would see it morph, vanish, reappear, impossible moves, and instant acceleration, much like we experience. Now, if our universe is a 3D membrane floating in a higher dimension, maybe UFOs are intersections, a glimpse of something beyond the physics itself, something far beyond what we can physically comprehend, bro. A lot of these phenomena don't travel through space, they fold through reality. Maybe that's why they never land, because they were never really here.
So I do believe that there's possibly a 4-dimensional or even greater, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12 dimensions. I do think that could be a real thing, simply because our 3-dimensional reality, in the way who's the guy that said billions and billions of stars? Carl Sagan. he explains, and there's a video of him explaining how a 3D object would pass through and how it would look in two-dimensional space. You just get the edge, as it passed through, you would just get that section of the three-dimensional object in the two-dimensional space. So if there was an apple passing through, those 5 points on the bottom of the apple would appear first, and then as it went through, you'd see it get kind of a little smaller and round, and then it would be like that pear shape. So it would grow out a little, go back in, and then grow out big, and then grow into like the stem, and then that'd be really tiny. But each layer of it would pass through the two-dimensional, and then the two-dimensional could experience the three-dimensional object in that way as it passed through. It would be the same for a four-dimensional object in a three-dimensional plane. We'd only see the very edge of the four-dimensional object as it was passing through the three-dimensional plane. You could think about it in this way. If it was a four-dimensional sphere passing through three-dimensional space, it would start out as a infinitesimal point, and then it would grow to the max diameter. So the sphere would appear. It would expand out to the max diameter of the four-dimensional object, and then it would collapse and shrink back down to that point and disappear as it passed through three-dimensional space. If you can imagine that. For me, it's very difficult for me to understand a four-dimensional object coming through three-dimensional space. I didn't think I would get into this conversation today on this stream, but we did. And, you know, just because I don't understand it doesn't mean it couldn't exist and couldn't be a real thing. So I think that he could be right about a lot of this stuff. This one could actually be real, but for the same reason that Carl Sagan explained a three-dimensional object passing through a two-dimensional plane, it would be the same thing here as a four-dimensional object passing through. He could be right about that. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
In the first place, right? They're just kind of strange, transient existences that, you know, we kind of only catch a glimpse of one another ever so briefly. So maybe things on the other side of our dimensional plane see us in weird ways too.
If his premise is correct that the UFOs we see are pretty much just shadows being projected into our reality from higher dimensions, then maybe the same is true for humans and our consciousness exists in a higher dimension as well.
Quite a few people in Washington were upset that I didn't include Jake the Alligator Man in my list of the top 10 weird things in Washington.
This looks fake to me. There's actually 2 bets that whatever this object is, changes color. One of the skull, and that there. And then as the neck kind of passes into the next section, it looks like that. That's how this passed the ribs into the alligator. And that's more that green-gray kind of color. So, and even the back legs part of that, so it's almost like they took a human skull or human head, glued it onto, and neck, glued it onto a misshapen body, something, you know, of something. I don't know what would have a body like that, but it almost looks like it has flippers. So a seal or something like that. And then it continues on until they get to the alligator portion where they glued it onto another portion of the whatever that is. And then at the back end where that last little section where the scales kind of end and it becomes almost a blue-gray, then you have the back flippers. This looks completely fake. I don't think this one exists at all. I don't believe this for a second.
And to be honest, that's because mummified mer creatures, or mummified half-man, half-animals of various different types, are quite common amongst the world of oddities and sideshow attractions. That said, the more I looked into Jake, the weirder it became. Not necessarily because of Jake, but because of the cult-like following that Jake has, which is certainly unique amongst mummified, mer-type creatures. Jake even has a birthday celebration.
4th annual 75th birthday party. How many times has this guy been 75?
Every year, complete with absolutely adorable photo ops. So I am willing to admit that perhaps Jake, who lives at the Marshes Free Museum in Long Beach, Washington, should have been on that list of the top 10 weird things in Washington. Sleep well, friends, and memento mori.
As I'm looking it up, I don't see any information about its origins, so I don't know if it's real or fake. It looks like somebody attached their grandpa's torso to an alligator.
Yeah, it doesn't look real to me. Yeah. How did that happen? Now, I say that, but then you'll see the actual video of it, and the car hits, like, it's going like 70 miles an hour in a residential area, which that has happened, and then it hits like this little curb or something, and you think it would just jump like a little bump, but actually it hits it at such a high speed or a weird angle or whatever, it launches it, and then it comes down. And until you see the video, you're like, there's no way that could happen. And then you see the video, and it's like, oh, I guess it did happen that way. So that's what I would think.
Whoever did this should never be allowed to drive again. I didn't even think it was physically possible to park a car in an attic like this. But how's the video, guys?
All right. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. We're going to end the feed here and come right back with more Hollow Knight. We'll play that for a little while. I got something in about an hour and a half, so I'll have to leave in just over an hour. So we'll get some gameplay in. I'll do my appointment, and then I'll have some dinner, and then I'll be back about 2 to 3 hours after that. And then we'll finish the night with some more Hollow Knight and possibly some Arc Raiders if we get through the rest of Hollow Knight. All right. Join me then, and be sure to join me in just a second when I come back. All right. Until then, be good to each other, and I'll see you in just a moment.